Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Pod Pipal Show. Let's see if anyone can hear me fine. It looks like that everything is good. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, guys. Tonight we have as usual, a very special debate, very special discussion. We have a great guest tonight, ModulateMorgan, who works who you probably have all have a chance to talk with in the Project Winter Discord, who works with the ToxMod software, has been kind enough to join us tonight to help us clear some misconception. So what happened, guys? Probably a lot of you know what happened. So like 3 or 4 days ago, Red 5 made a post in the Project Winter Discord to announce the upcoming addition of ToxMod. I'm going to have trouble saying that tonight. As a trial to Project Winter. And they're going to try to see if that's going to help with the what many seem to be in a toxicity problem that the game is plagued with. Obviously, it's been met with a lot of criticism, and if you guys go into Project Winter Discord after that, there's a channel that's been created. It's called ToxMod Question. You're gonna have to scroll a long ass time to go at the top of it. There's so many questions and comments. Not all of them are of high quality, if I might say so myself. So I thought that was a very good discussion for tonight. I contacted Morgan, who has been kind enough to give us a little bit of their time to join us tonight. So we have Kitty, Peezer. KittyKat is first time guest on the show as well, but you probably know Kitty. Kitty always hosts blackout lobbies all the time, and chances are you probably played with Kitty many times. Peezer, a very recurring guest on the show. I don't think we need to introduce you anymore. You've been there. I think you've been the most recurrent guest of the whole show so far. On the 20 episode we did, you've probably been there at least 10 times. So thank you so much. We usually were supposed to talk about different topic tonight, guys. We're supposed to talk about in the inclusion of what would you think would be a new item we could add to the game to bring deception, but I saw that and no, I had to grab this topic for tonight. So without further ado, I'm gonna give 2 minutes to 2 or 3 minutes to every one of my guests to introduce themselves, tell us what they do. Don't bring the topic tonight, but just tell us who you are, what you do, and if you happen to be a content creator and you want to be followed, feel free to shout out your links and your page. So, Kitty, you want to go ahead first?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Kitty. I go by Kitty or Cat. Either is fine. She, they. I live on the East Coast. My day-to-day job is a convenience store worker. If you know of a certain chain of stores that's very popular on the East Coast that starts with a W, you probably get an idea. I occasionally stream on Twitch. It's usually always Project Winter or Goose Goose Duck. And it's usually with Asparagus if it's Goose Goose Duck. Because none of my friends really play it, but yeah. That's basically me. I like reading. I'm a big book nerd as well. Love reading. Love cats, obviously. But yeah, that's me.
I put the link in the chat, guys. At any time during the show, press exclamation point guests, and you will get the link to follow or guests. By the way, Hellish is also going to join us in a few minutes. She is currently closing store at work, so she's going to drop it at any time. Morgan, floor is yours if you want to introduce yourself. You
Yeah.
can take 2 to 5 minutes to tell us whatever you want about yourself.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. I'm always happy to answer questions, not just because it's part of my job, but like that you got questions and it's reasonable. So, I am the external relations coordinator at a small startup you might have heard of called Modulate. We made ToxMod. So I kind of fill the role of community manager. I also handle some other stuff, startup life, multiple hats. So I do a lot of other things too. So if I ever look tired in one of these, you know why. But that's me. I also stream. I train my dog and other dogs. I've got my service dog Wesley. He'll probably make an appearance at some point. And I'm also a skater in a local roller derby league.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Peezer seems very interested
That
right now.
stuff's cool.
Peezer,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
my
sounds rad.
my
floor's
yeah,
yours.
I'm Peezer. I've been here a bunch of times. Anytime I can help out Asparagus is a good time. So I've been in this community for just short of 3 years since just before the saboteur got taken away from us, and yeah, I'm just I've said it all before, so
You've said it all before. Yeah, but we have new people who've never seen you
that's
here
yeah,
before.
that's all right. Yeah,
See,
no,
people
I'm
already saying Peezer's the best in chat, so you have a
oh
few
great,
fans coming here.
yeah. I did have to switch my schedule recently. I used to stream quite consistently, but I did get new work this past month, so weekends only now for me. But I mean, I'm not really going anywhere anytime soon, so.
And well, thanks for being here. Also, for everyone in chat, we have Gavin and Base who are gonna be acting as moderators tonight during the discussion. So I trust all of you in chat. We never, ever, ever had a problem before. Obviously, I wanted to have 2 mods tonight on the ready to remove everything that is not pretty cool in chat. You guys know the rules. So so far, on 20 episodes we've made so far, I've banned 1 person out of 20 debate episodes once. That's amazing.
being
Now
that
I'm
one
curious.
person.
Holy.
Imagine
No,
just being that
No.
one person.
I know. I just want to say that you guys are always respectful, and that's amazing. If you guys have questions, obviously this is going to be some kind of question seance. We're going to do a little bit of information sharing to remove some misconceptions. Some of you have concerns about the inclusion of ToxMod, so we want to help everyone to have a better understanding of what's happening. Feel free to tag me in your questions or highlight your question in chats. I will be looking at the chat question. I will obviously not ask all the questions, but I'll take notes of your question. I'll make sure to ask some of them. I will take from granted that there's a lot of people in here that were not in the Project Winter Discord. So tonight, not everyone is part of that Discord. So some people might not even know what ToxMod is. So we might start on this point forward, just explaining what is it and what is happening. One thing I want to say before we give the floor to Morgan. Many people have asked me this week what makes Project Winter a game where moderation is required more than other. And in my view, I'd say this game, the big difference between Project Winter, it's a game based on communication, and you're stuck with the same people for half an hour. It's not like a Call of Duty game when if you shoot someone and they're being super upset or toxic with you, you could technically tune them out. If you mute someone in Project Winter, you kind of miss a big part of the game. The game is based out of communication, cooperation, and a deception. So if you were to have to mute two people in the lobby, your game experience will be totally different. So that's why I think some people see the game as more toxic than others, because you're stuck with a long time when you have some unfortunate people with you in the lobby.
30 whole minutes.
It is a dirty old mess. The game has gone very cheap on Steam recently. We have a price drop. And the game, I think, don't quote me on that, but I think the game cut price by half permanently. And what has happened is that a bunch of new people came into the game. And if you go and see the recent Steam reviews for the game, the dev have been met with some not very good reviews. Most of them involving the community being toxic and not welcoming. So, guys, we are not doing a good job welcoming new people. And my understanding is that dev thought a system like ToxMod would be a good solution to fix the current solution. So the problem. So Morgan, that being said, could you please give us a little understanding of what is ToxMod for people who have never heard about it?
Yeah, of course. The super simplest way to think of it is think of it as just another player in your lobby who, if they hear something that breaks TOS, they make a report. We firmly believe that it shouldn't be on the players to make a report. Obviously, the tools should exist for you to be able to report, but it shouldn't always be the player's job. The developers, the community, like everyone is in this together to make this fun and enjoyable so we can all play it together type of thing. There are games I have quit. There are numerous games, numerous other people have permanently quit because of toxicity. And that's just kind of the idea. Like, we want to make sure that these reports come in. We want to make sure they're accurate because, unfortunately, a lot of player reports are inaccurate or don't have enough information. They're just too vague and they take too long for the moderation team to make a decision. This, like, comes in, they can sort by some of the most horrible stuff that you wouldn't even believe, and they can hit those, like, immediately. You're talking ridiculous reductions in time responding. Like, I know some games where it's like 30, 40 days before you might get one of those depending on the game. They'll like, hey, we received your report and took action on it. Like, this is a lot faster.
So what does ToxMod do? So my understanding is that, please correct me because I don't want to spread false information. That's why we're here tonight, to fix misconception. So my understanding is that ToxMod is a AI-based system that kind of listens to everything that happens during the game, and if some predetermined words or sentence that have been deemed toxic are said by a player, the system's going to start recording, make a little audio file, and send it to the devs so they can do what they see fit with it.
Pretty close.
Pretty close.
So it, yeah, like I said, it's like another player in your session. So anything that, in this case, with something with like proximity voice, things like that, it gets a little weirder because it doesn't have a location, right? But other than that, anytime there's voice chat going through the game, it's also getting at least very quickly, like we call it triaged by ToxMod. And then if it looks like it might be toxic, then it goes in for the full analysis. But it's not just like keywords and phrases. It does a lot more than that. There's so much nuance to toxicity because I could say something absolutely horrible without referring to a single bad word. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff, obviously non-exhaustive list, but like tone, the delivery, reactions of other speakers, history kind of in that moment because it looks back. But usually the reports, depending on how they're set up, but it's usually like around 2 minutes of contextual audio from other chat happening, whether it's that person or other people in that chat session, so that when the moderators look at it, they can go, "Oh, here's what's going on." So some games have a thing where they're kind of defending themselves. They're not actually being toxic. So that's important. Banter with friends we hear about a lot. It's generally designed to not flag that stuff. It's like this isn't something that's intended to harm someone. And then ultimately AI does make mistakes. So
Yeah.
like that's why humans are kept in the loop.
That baffles me. How can an AI knows or determine if I'm having good time with friends and we're just being a little shitty to each other and it's quote unquote okay, and determine if I'm just being an asshole and I'm harassing someone?
The really silly answer is just very smart people and a lot of training. Like, I mean, we've been around for a few years, but we've only really started to pop up in games probably in the last year and a half. So we're live in a few games. Obviously, we have other stuff in the works. Hopefully, we'll announce those soon. That'd be cool. But yeah, we've got folks. I think. Yeah, we've got a VR game that we've been in a little over a year now. That's been pretty awesome. Obviously, I can't give specifics, but they've been thrilled to have it. So
Amazing. We have a bunch of questions. I will go with one of mine, and after that, Peezer and Kitty, if you want to go in. If I don't want to misrepresent you, Kitty, I think you told me you had possibly a few concerns about this. You wanted to check. So we're gonna go with this. I just want to go with one of my questions, and then we're gonna go in rotation here. And as usual, this is on PodPipeAll. We like casual conversations. So at any time, if I say anything, all of you just feel free to jump in and interrupt me. It's all right. We're all cool with that. So we already addressed that. There's been a lot of questions about consent in the discussion that happened earlier. And my question is, to your understanding, Morgan, does starting a game, is me jumping in a game is me making the action to connect to an online game or an online service, does it mean implied consent for me to be recorded or to have my conversation recorded? Is there some kind of implied consent that I joined the system, which means that obviously I can be recorded? Because I know for a fact that having this right next to me in my pockets has me recorded, because I can talk to you and say toothpaste, 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 and
Yeah, you're gonna
tomorrow
get
morning
ads.
I'm gonna get ad for toothpaste tomorrow morning, whatever website I'm going, even though my phone is turned off right now. So is that a thing, or?
Um, any legal question, I'm gonna start with I am not a lawyer, but
Fair.
my understanding as a gamer myself and content creator is that essentially it's baked into the terms of service. So
Okay.
you'll likely see a terms of service update the same time ToxMod goes live, and that's letting you know it's happening. Um, that's usually how it works. Is my understanding is you consent by accepting that TOS, that code of conduct, and if you play the game, you've already consented. Yeah, EULA, TOS, all of that.
Thank you, Agathon, for 13 months. 13, that's crazy. If you feel like jumping in Agathon, you know where to find us. And Hellish as well, if you want to come in. Hellish, the conversation is open. We are having a discussion tonight with Morgan, who works with ToxMod and who's been kind enough to give us a little bit of their time to clear some misconceptions. So there's no implied consent. It just means that if I didn't take the time to read the terms of service, like nobody does, that's on me at this point.
Essentially, yeah. I don't like thinking of it that way because that just sounds horrible. But like,
I do.
a lot of folks, and we encourage them to also make this obvious before it goes live. So like the announcement is partially because we urge that with our customers. Is like, hey, tell your customer, tell your players, because none of us would want this, sprung on us. People don't read the TOS. They should be aware that it's happening. But you see it even bigger companies. I think it was in the Project Winter Discord where someone brought up like Riot made an announcement. I don't even know if they're doing anything with it yet, but they made an announcement of their own that they're collecting audio data in
Yes.
Valorant. So usually we would encourage like an announcement, which Project Winter has done. And just really try to be as transparent as possible. It's one of our core things.
Hello, Elish. Thanks for joining us.
Okay.
Thanks.
You made it. You made it. Yeah, sorry, you didn't have the role to join us. So Hellish has joined the party. Kitty, I'm gonna give you the floor right now while I'm setting up things right here. I think you had some question or concern, so go ahead.
So to build off that, what happens to recordings like after a while? Do they get deleted after a while? They're just stored forever? Like what do you guys do with them? Once you've determined that like this based on the context, it's fine.
Okay, so it's a long answer, but I'm going to give you all of it. So like I said, there's that first pass kind of triage. Depending on the customer, they may do it as a like on device for the player's device, as part of in this case Project Winter, or on server side. It's kind of their choice, but that's a super lightweight, super quick. Just hey, is there anything to worry about here? If not, it never even goes to our servers. It's never recorded. If it's maybe toxic, like or if it's part of essentially a toxic situation, if you will, then it would be stored. If it goes through that deeper analysis and is a report, like if a report is sent to the mods, that's when it's stored. No one can look at it unless it's part of a report. So that because technically if someone will be really pedantic and technically obviously it records and then discards like constantly. No one can like jump in midstream. This is only if a report comes in, you can look at the report. Then it comes into kind of a branching thing. So the report goes over there. At most, we'll keep it for 30 days. That's at most dead stop 30 days. If and it's 30 days or until the customer takes some sort of action on the report. So if they discard the report or they find it's not a problem, cool. Data's deleted on our end. If they take action and it is toxic, we will still get rid of it at 30 days. Some setup that I'm not necessarily knowledgeable about will exist based on their policies to keep for like appeals and stuff like that. But same idea, they can only view it by viewing the report, so on and so forth. On the Modulate side, everything's completely. I am echoing.
Yeah, an echo there.
Yeah,
I hear that.
Asparagus has a little a mic issue that happens a lot, where it will kind of echo from his headphones. So I just let him know that it's happening again.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was just picking up from the headphones to the mic, but
Yeah.
but yeah. So from our end, max 30 days, and probably if I just had to pull a number out of thin air, 90% of audio is never actually being stored in the first place. As far as what the customer does with it, it's up to them, their appeal policy, their data storage. I think a lot of them actually just let it get deleted, but they'll keep like the transcripts or the rationale. So don't quote me on that. That's kind of like, in this case, a Project Winter question.
Gotcha.
But yeah, from our end, we can never tell who it is. It's anonymized on our end. We can't figure it out, period. No one can look at it midstream, and max of 30 days.
Okay. It's good to know.
Thank you, Elish. I fixed the thing.
Yes.
I did it. Okay. Does that answer your question, Kitty?
Yes, thank you.
Peezer, you have anything you want to ask right now? By the way, Elish, we have a bunch of questions in the Discord. If you want to go ahead, or if you have your own, feel free to. I'm looking at the chat right now, and I've noted a few questions. By the way, you know what, Ranger, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna be a little asshole. Nat wants to know when you will play your first Project Winter game.
I mean, is this where I go, how do you know I haven't?
Oh, damn.
True. Well, the thing is,
True.
he's got to play the game in order to see if the program actually works. So he's got to beta test it, basically. Or they got to beta test it in order to actually see if it works or not. So I assume they actually play it. So.
To be fair, though, I have not played it. It has been I have owned it for I want to say 3 years. It might only have been 2. My friend group, it's like the joke about adults trying to schedule D&D. We keep having like, oh, we're gonna try out Project Winter. We're gonna try out Project Winter. Every single time, like other sessions will work out. The Project Winter session, something always comes up. So 2 or 3 years, it's been installed on my computer, just sitting.
It's cursed. It's cursed.
Probably because it's like 8 players, so it's like a good amount of people you have to corral into like.
Right,
Yeah.
and so
Like,
that's
clearing
a
your
lot.
schedule.
Yeah.
And you can't go less. Like, if you go, well, I mean, you can if you're brand new, but
Yeah.
the less you go, the harder it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of changed the. It's very unbalanced.
Blackout's the only one you can do with less.
Yeah, that kind of works, but sometimes not really.
Why would you want to play Blackout? Oops.
7.
said
It
it.
was 7.
Hey, hey.
You for
Use
that
you,
one.
sir.
Jackman's gonna come after you for that
Oh,
one.
don't worry, I'm
True.
already gonna come after him. I play Blackout all the time. He knows this.
Hey, Blackout's actually kind of cool. It's just I don't play it much, so.
It's pretty.
Well, if anyone here ever
It's
wants
got that
to
going
give it
for
a
it.
really
It is
good go, I'm your girl.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Moose, for the 7-month sub. That's amazing. Peezer, you gonna go ahead?
Yeah, I think a lot of people were obviously the biggest question I saw was what other games have used it, and if you can't say it, I guess that's fine. I'm just
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can say the ones that have either announced or launched.
yeah.
Obviously, stuff in the works, a whole host of NDAs and stuff. We want to say our very first game was this itty bitty game on Steam called Gridiron.
Look up.
They reported really good statistical results, but it's a small game. Those stats can vary really wildly, really easily. So like take that with a grain of salt. That's totally valid. Bigger ones we've been in PokerStars VR for a while.
Cool.
Yeah, VR's been really quick to want to pick up on it because it's kind of voice native, because there's just so much, almost more intensity to the toxicity, and also because they're usually younger companies. I think they've got a little bit less inertia. They're just like, oh, we want to build this game, and while we're building it, we also want it to be safe, and so they just kind of, it's not an afterthought. It's part of their design. But yeah, PokerStars VR and Rec Room, another predominantly
okay.
VR title,
Yeah.
has been using us for quite a while.
I've had a lot of really cool people on Rec Room actually.
And then we just announced Project Winter. We just announced Zenith VR.
Ooh.
And then trying to remember, it's a Saturday and I have Saturday brain. Oh, we're also in like I'm trying to remember what they call it. It's sort of like an esports stadium thing. It's called Vertex Stadium. So we're in that as well.
So that is
And
a few games.
I,
Go ahead.
I guess I can like ask on that. Is there a number more that your guys are working with that you can say, or is that still like NDA kind of deal?
I
Like
mean,
more.
in my opinion, hopefully all of them, because I really don't want to. I don't want to have to quit and uninstall games anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I would
Fair.
like to see this go well and actually see if it would
Nah.
go good with a Call of Duty, because that is one of the worst. Like, I used to play Call of Duty, and then it just Toxicity just killed it for me.
Yeah, I completely
So-
stopped Valorant. I don't do like Warzone. There's a lot that I have left because it's just, even with this unfortunately male passing voice, like it's still just vile sometimes.
Yeah, one of my streamer friends, like, there's just certain games he does not stream, even though he has the capacity, because like he knows if he streams it, he risks getting banned on Twitch because of things other people might say. So
So I'm not gonna lie, I just looked up Gridiron. It looks really cool.
It's a cool concept. It is very small. I'm sure they'll be very happy that I mentioned
Yeah.
their game.
I absolutely am going to play that. I love football, so
Oh, I kind of figured it was a football thing,
Yeah.
because Gridiron just reminds me of a show that I grew up on, was Gridiron Gang. So
Yeah.
But
think-
more to your point, yeah, there are several. The easiest way to put it is the industry is aware that solutions to voice chat finally exist and that they're finally ready to throw money at it, because that's part of it too. You've got some executive who's like, I don't want to spend money on it. So you have to make it compelling to them and make it like, oh, this is actually a big deal, and it is. But it's also a big deal just to the players. Period. That's why I'm here. But the most direct I can just be is that the industry is aware, so we're talking with lots of folks, which is cool.
I think that's a good change. I've seen well, we've all seen, if you've seen the discussion in the Project Winter channel, lots of people, not lots, I'm not gonna be unfair. A few people fought really hard, at least in my opinion, for the right to keep being toxic, and kind of worked really, really hard to try to justify their action, to the point of, I told them, guys, if you take 5% of that effort you're putting in trying to justify your conduct and just being nice, you'll be fine. You won't have any issues. Are you met with a lot of pushback when you try to implement this in a game, or is it usually what I mean is that you've seen some pushback in the Project Winter community? Have you seen? I feel you might have done that with other communities before. Would you rank it? Did you get more pushback here, less pushback here, the equal amount? Do you think the community here was less, more, or equally receptive to this from other communities?
Yeah. So it's obviously kind of hard to say because there's a lot of people who don't say anything. I'm inclined to believe that those people either support it, aren't online, or well, I guess either is not right because it's three things. Support it, aren't online, or are at least neutral enough that they're not coming in to complain. Like if you go to any review, like Yelp, anything, it's always going to be the negative things. You get like one person who comes in with a positive review. That said, I would say honestly, almost every game, even though they varied in size, and then their discords vary pretty wildly in size as well. I don't think it's that different. Sometimes it might be a difference of like, oh, you have one probably toxic person who's being super trolly and is equal to three slightly less trolly people from another community, but like I feel like the amount that I deal with is about the same.
So it was similar experience. You've experienced somewhere else. Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, scaled up a little bit, just because this is, I think, Project Winter is what, a 40,000 user Discord, give or take. So, I mean, that's a lot more than
40,000, really?
I think so.
really, I didn't
Doesn't
know
Yeah.
feel
there was
like
that
it.
many people.
It doesn't feel like it. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it
the
doesn't.
thing is, the
I'm
Discord
impressed.
community has like exploded since they released it on not just
True.
Xbox, but the PC and PlayStation crossplay and Nintendo Switch crossplay. So of course the Discord's going to blow up even more because they actually caused it to be more
Load.
downloadable. So, but that also is the con, more toxicity, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
I
that
did-
brings in more people, which brings in more toxic people, unfortunately.
Well,
I
it
do
brings
have
in more
one
toxic people,
question.
and it also brings in new people who are really easily turned off right away if they
Yeah.
encounter
That's the
toxicity.
issue.
So that's, in my opinion, probably the biggest thing in terms of like if you want to think of us as a business, which we are, so that's valid. Like the whole point is you want to keep the players who aren't jerks, and the players who are jerks, hopefully they stop being jerks. But if they go away, that's a lot less bad than losing your dedicated, passionate players.
Gavin
Yeah.
gives us an update here, and apparently it's 36,274
Oh boy, that was
Oh my
close.
members.
god, that's a
And
lot.
I am shocked because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always thought it was lots. Okay, good. But
Yeah.
good
I think
job,
even
Project
in
Winter.
my personal experience, like when I first started playing, I nearly quit like right away because like every time I would join a lobby, there would be at least one person where it was like, why are you like this? Like, you know.
Especially when you're a girl as well.
Oh yeah.
I hate it.
Misogyny has been.
Well, the thing is, it's not only that. It's like when you're actually in a decent group, there's always that little clique that's always going to be in there
Yeah.
that will literally, hey, I'm going to be teaming up with this thing, and automatically that person gets labeled a simp.
Yeah.
What-
Oh yeah. What they're like?
Because you're
there's,
actually
Favorite
trying to
word.
play the game, which
I've had a
it's-
problem, yeah, with that as well. Like one, like even like friend, even like would
Exactly.
it would call this guy a simp just purely because he was being nice to me. It's like being nice to me does not make someone why.
What
Yeah.
what I did find about it though is that that's what actually kept me at it though is that there's 8 people. If there's one person that's being a jerk, usually you're gonna find 2 people on the other side that are like, dude, shut up. Like, even if
Yeah.
it's towards the third
Yeah.
person, there's 2
True.
people that are usually with you. That's why I actually liked it so much. Is that person is generally, excuse me, phased out by the rest.
yeah.
Like,
True.
yeah, that's
I just
it's
know
not
I had
always the case, but it was what I found for the most part.
I
Yeah.
literally had a game though where like it was me and another girl who were sticking together, and the guys were just being super like misogynistic and talking. We were like we kind of looked at each other in game. We were like, we're not feeling the vibes, are we? And we're like, no. And so we got ourselves killed to a bear and then just left the game. Like, and we made our own lobby. It was like it was just like, you know, we said nope.
To
we're
be
out.
to be fair here,
To be fair.
the game
Like-
used to be, at least in my experience, so much worse. I had a similar panel at least a year from now in February last year, and it was all about the way women were treated in the game. And I had a panel with only women streamers, and they all shared some horror story about what they were experiencing in the game. Some of the devs were there to listen to it, and I feel I don't want to say that we made all this change, but I feel that's possibly one of the many reasons why they
Single-handedly.
work.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
it's
I
definitely
feel-
gotten better. It's definitely gotten better, but
Yeah.
you still get those. It's like it's all right. So,
Yeah.
but it's gotten a lot more tolerable, if anything.
Yeah, it's a little bit
We're
more
gonna-
tolerable.
We're gonna go back to questions about mostly ToxMod because Morgan has been lucky enough not to have been a victim of those by not playing the game yet. By the way, we did a little poll in the Discord right now. I'm on the Discord in the chat, and we're gonna do one after that. I said, do you think ToxMod will make make Project Winter better? And right now, it's 43% says no, 40% says I don't know yet, and only 14% said yes. So
I was the
I'm-
only one that said yes.
I'm surprised. I'm so surprised. You know what, guys? We're
see
gonna
that-
convince you. This is not over. We still have a little time, and we're gonna convince you. I'm gonna do another poll by the end, and you're all gonna vote yes. Because for me, I've been asking for something like that for at least a year now, and I'm hyped, I'm stoked, and I'm very happy. And I see this is a great news. Um, I have one question here that I have. So we're gonna go back to the ToxMod and less about our experience about toxicity. We could do a little time about that by the end, but I don't want to bore Morgan with things they're not experienced with.
Hank,
They
run
did not
with whatever
I
works.
do have one question though.
Yes, go
for
ahead,
Morgan.
Elish. About the ToxMod, right?
Yeah, it's about ToxMod.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously it's a learning AI. And as I was looking at the chat, Ranged actually gave a good point. There's only 4 devs that are actually being able to handle all these reports and everything like that that is coming in. And you also said, and I was reading as well the ToxMod thing, that it triages it. Now, it talks about that the major part of it learning and figuring out is how the mod chooses it. What happens if, like, there's 4 mod devs that's working on this? Will it, if there's any human error from 1 or 2 out of the 4 devs, will it affect the ToxMod, like, significantly or anything like that
No, it
if they
didn't.
correct it?
Yeah, it shouldn't unless it becomes like it's a matter of scale. When you're training on, say, a million things, one doesn't do anything because you're. For anyone who doesn't know, sort of like deep neural networks, I used to be an engineer. I'm kind of happy I'm not anymore. Never on this project, but I did do AI in the past. You're basically putting in, as far as the computer's concerned, a series of numbers. It does some math and it pops out some other numbers. And if that math is affected by 1 in a million, that's going to do nothing. If you have someone who's going through a million reports and then, getting them all wrong, potentially. But there's a certain amount of it's also in other games, which helps insulate that. Usually they're a bit more, my understanding is it's a bit more kind of native to that game's ecosystem because you're going to tune in on like specific types of toxicity that occur in this game versus that game, or between a children's game and an all ages game or a mature game. So the short answer is it shouldn't matter. The longer answer is that's true, but we also know that AI make mistakes, and so we never want to claim that we're the arbiters of toxicity, and that's why studios have their appeal systems.
Thank you for I can't speak. I have not been able to speak for the past week. But thank you for going more in depth into that. So
Yeah, of course.
I have a question here that's been given to us by Dax. Dax is one of our good friend, and he's studying right now to become an information security professional. So I think this question might be very interesting. I would like to know, it's 2 parts of the questions. First of all, because Dax is Canadian, so that's probably why, as I am, that's probably why this question kind of Canadian based. Where's ToxMod based out, and does it follow Canadian Privacy Act when it's used? Meaning that where is the software company based, and do you follow the privacy rules from the location when you're from, or the location where it's used? And what about GDPR in Europe? Because there's been like 3 years ago, GDPR has been rolled out in Europe, and it's a lot 3 years ago now, and it changed. So many countries have many different privacy rules, and do you have to abide by only the rules from where the software is based from, or do you have to abide by all the rules when everyone's playing the game from?
So that's a big question, and it's a totally valid one. The short version is we are fully compliant with all of them.
Okay.
The longer version is the medium version is that's a lawyer question. I can't give you a good answer with any level of certainty. You know what I mean? The slightly longer, I think I'm right answer is it gets into, especially GDPR, they make a distinction between like processor and controller. The controller sort of owns the data, for lack of a better word, and the processor is just there to do a specific process. In the case of something like Project Winter, where the processor, we never own that data. That's why it has a deletion policy. It's why we don't do and can't do anything else with it. And that's all based on an agreement with the customer, in this case, Project Winter. Beyond that, I believe most of the compliance then falls to the controller. In this case, Project Winter, Other Ocean. Gosh, I also picked up a cold when it was -15 yesterday, so I apologize. Fahrenheit, not Celsius. That would actually be nicer if it was Celsius. Anyway, I think I answered it, but I also just distracted myself, so let me know if I didn't.
I mean, Celsius are real degrees. I say that all the time. Canadian here.
Yeah.
I agree. I
Whatever.
used to be a particle
Yeah,
astrophysicist
yeah.
as well, so give me the metric system, please.
Thank you. Thank you.
Asparagus, be quiet.
Makes
Yeah,
no
Hellish, let's get
sense.
him.
Well, the
Bold
thing
asking
is, he is near the top of the world. I'm more towards the equator. So we have significant. Me and him go at it against all the seasons all the time. So
I'm on the East Coast, which means I get the best of both worlds sometimes.
hey, me too.
Hey, let's go.
I mean, I would say Celsius isn't even real degrees. Real degrees are Kelvin.
Yeah, but who
Yes,
knows Kelvin?
very true.
Okay,
Fair.
let's.
Fair.
Okay, so next
I'm
week
gonna
on
say-
Pot Pie Paul debates, Celsius, Kelvin, or Fahrenheit, and we're gonna go
no.
hard.
The thing is, that is more of a Moose HD thing. But the thing is, he's more focused on animals than he is on actual physics. So that's not really going to work.
Speaking of which, make sure to follow Moose HD's in chat right now to have access to his science show, Moose HD. Science HD is pretty good. It's pretty amazing. And there we go. I did a little plug. Peezer, any question,
Hey,
anything you want to add right now?
There's one that actually just came in. Oh yeah, right. So this came from I forget.
Is it gas
I'm
and
sorry.
burn?
I missed who it is. You can tell me.
It's gas and
so
burn.
no, I don't think so. But regardless, anyways, other languages. What's the deal with that? So you're talking to someone and they just hit you with some Russian. What happens?
All right. So we would consider it fluent in English right now with some very common, obviously I can't specify what, some very commonly toxic things from certain other languages. Because we know they happen, we wanted to get those in there because they happen. Other languages are a work in progress. They're probably going to happen in roughly the order of prevalence in gaming, because that just makes sense. You know, you do as much good as you can. That said, we are also very careful and take a long time to do them because we want to make sure we get the sort of cultural norms around how they use their language correct. We also have a big thing on reclaimed language for like myself and the LGBT folks in the queer community. There's a huge difference between if I call myself queer and if someone really decides to be toxic using that same word. And so that's something we want to be really cognizant of, and it gets even trickier when you think about the fact that a lot of these languages span lots of different cultures. Like even just if you go to French, think of Quebecois versus French versus like Algerian,
Quebec.
yeah, or Spanish. You've got Mexican Spanish, you've got Spain Spanish, Catalonian. Is that still technically Spanish? Don't quote me on that. I know it's different, but I don't know how that works.
What was it again?
Catalonian.
I think so, yeah. It's a form of it. It's a dialect.
Yeah, and then Portuguese, like they all have it. And so it's something you want to take your time with because, again, we would be happier missing things than flagging the wrong things. Because, again, we all play games too and we don't want to get reported.
I like
Now,
that.
the question with English, is it American English or is it British English? That's
Oh, wait a second. Australian English.
Australian or New Zealand or Switzerland. Is that one of their official languages?
Yes, New Zealand is with the English. But yeah, because they have their own dialects too.
Yeah.
I would say it's predominantly American English. Again, it's going to be based on sort of the predominance of the use case.
Of the user base. Right?
That said, I would have to double check, but I'm fairly certain a good chunk of training's been done on UK and possibly Australian English. I just don't want to say that with certainty. I'm not gonna say that's absolutely true because I'm not sure.
Mostly like North American slang. That's gonna. Yeah.
And then common loan stuff or stuff that just we see crop up.
Okay, so a follow up on that. I mean, new words come up consistently. What happens then?
They get trained in. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like
And
it
then
learns.
also,
It's self-learning. Yeah. Okay.
well,
Okay.
it's self-learning a little bit. It's a little bit us. It's a little bit a specific game. So like maybe a game has locations that start to sound close to other things that are toxic, or I have no idea what that sound is.
Yeah, there was
But-
a
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to say.
It came from Hellish.
Someone's on the chalkboard out there.
I'm hitting my parting comb. I don't even know why I have it.
Hey, fidgets are valid, totally valid.
I got ADHD, so I'm constantly fidgeting, and I can't find my bouncy ball.
I've never been
I am
diagnosed, but I'm
neurospicy AF.
always constantly fidgeting as well.
Literally, while my lights are changing
find
colors,
it.
I'm just circling this thing around. I
I'm
have to
also
do
really jealous
something.
of your light
Yeah.
behind you. That thing's awesome.
There it is.
Thank you.
Whenever the floor is open, I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask it now?
That's
Yes.
one. I'll give you another one.
Okay. All right. So someone in chat, I was looking at Asparagus chat. They brought up a good thing. What about accents? Because they said sometimes it can sound like someone with an accent is saying something inappropriate when they're not, or even just like I know one of my friends, he has a speech impediment. Sometimes like his speech impediment causes his words to sound wrong when they're not. So like, does it learn about that as well?
So first point is that's why we believe in keeping a human in the loop. Neither human nor AI should just be making decisions willy-nilly. They need all the information. They need to be able to make an informed decision, you know? Further than that, a lot of our training data has focused on that. Obviously, there's always going to be places to improve there. So I don't want to claim it's perfect. Just because the lower a population is in your representation, the harder it is to get data to then train on it. But that said, between the other things it looks for and the fact you have a human at the end, it hasn't really been a problem. It gets asked a lot, but
Okay.
like that's a valid question, you know?
Yeah, I thought that was a good one when I saw it in chat.
Okay.
So I wanted
I
to bring
mean,
it up.
this one would probably be aimed at more of the developers, but High IQ, I'm sorry, man, it was his question. I messed up, but he asked another one. Can we toggle that? Can we toggle it on and off in a custom game? I'm assuming that's a developer question, but
It's
Yeah.
gonna probably be a developer question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's up to them.
So if I understand correctly here, I don't want to put you in trouble. Is that an option that the developer could choose to put in the game to toggle if they wanted to?
In other games, there are certain instances that are, for a variety of different reasons, exempt from it.
Okay.
And that's a case by case basis. They make their decisions. We might have input one way or another, but it's not our company. It's not our community. You know.
I agree. And I also agree with Red 5 comment here. It says, why do we need to allow player to be hateful in private lobbies? I also agree with that. Hate.
Was that
hate.
Red 5? Hi, Red.
Yeah, Thomas Be Good TV is Red 5, yes. Yes, in my view, hate speech is hate speech. Whatever you do in front of 2 people, 20 people, 100 people, or on your own. So I don't see any difference. I don't believe in context. If I use a word that is meant to demean someone, or being, even if I do it on my own, it doesn't take anything away from it. That's my own opinion, but yeah.
I always face palm a little bit because I always get the banter question in any announcement, and that's valid. And then I always get the follow up of, well, what if I'm being toxic in my banter? I'm like, why? Why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. This isn't like a phone booth. This isn't in your bedroom. You are on a public platform playing a game. They have chosen to make this decision. Like, just don't be toxic.
Yeah, I mean,
Hold on.
my friends and I definitely have banter. I wouldn't say it's like necessarily toxic. It's more like just like we've known each other for like a year at least now, and we like are comfortable just kind of like playfully knocking at each other sometimes. Like
Oh, I'm ex-military. I
playful
worked at Walmart, and I am in community. I swear like a sailor. So
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Somebody understands my pain.
Yeah, just like playful insults and stuff like that. Like my friends were concerned about that, and I was like, I'm pretty sure they're
Yeah.
gonna have like some moderate, like, you know, someone listening to it and who can say, oh, they're just being friends who mess around sometimes.
Again, one thing I want to point out that comes out often, and I saw it a lot in the chat. Please correct me, Morgan, if I'm wrong. My understanding in that this is just a tool to go get some little clips. Whatever is deemed acceptable or not is not ToxMod's. It's on the ToxMod side. It's on the developer side. So
Absolutely.
Whatever is being flagged, it's on the devs to decide if this is something they want to allow or not in the game. I saw a few people asking, what if I use the N word? If I'm a person of color, am I allowed to use it? And this is not, I mean, it's not even an ethical question at all. Some people would say yes, some people would say no.
To
but
be fair,
the dev decided
there
this is
is
not the word they want to use in the game at all. So
there is a very large body of work. We actually work with Dr. Kishona Gray, and she's done a lot of work in reclaimed language in Black and brown spaces. So I'm hesitant to say the N word is always bad, but the N word is worth thinking of it. Yeah. But it has also been reclaimed. Like some words have been reclaimed by some communities, and it's important to not take that agency away from them. So there's a lot of work around things like that as well.
But those, regardless, those become a decision from the developer. And if some game maker decide that they want to allow it, they might use ToxMod to flag. Well, they'll get all the reports, and then they decide, okay, this is a report for that word, we're cool with it. This is a report for that word, we're not cool with it, and we're gonna take or not take actions, right?
Yeah, I was going to say they're not going to really have any say in being like, oh, no, we want to get reports on reclaimed language as well.
Yeah.
But there is always the chance reclaimed language does still get flagged at either incorrectly or lower certainty, lower severity, however that's handled. Not an engineer, hashtag.
Well, Red 5 clarified here. It says, ultimately, it doesn't matter who, why, or how it's used. We do not want these type of slurs used on our platform, and it's a zero tolerance policy, which is...
Yep. And so then, yeah, they can look at those. They can sort the reports by types of sort of suspected offense, alleged offense. And then it's up to them. Yeah, we never, I said this earlier too, we never want to be arbiters of what's right or wrong in every community. Like, that's not our job. We don't want that job.
Gonna do one last round of questions here, guys, in chat. If you have any questions for Morgan, feel free to put them, and make sure to either highlight your question or tag me, so I'm sure to see them. We're gonna go Hellish, Kitty, and Peezer. Then I'll go with my last question. So, Hellish, anything you want to add to discussion right now?
No, but I'm actually trying to go back into the chat because I know there was one person that had a two-part question. So if you would have passed by me, I actually want to ask this question in their set. So
yeah, sure. I'll come back to you after that.
Yeah.
Kitty.
Okay, there it is.
No, Kitty.
I don't think I can think of anything else. I think we've covered like most of what like when my friends and I saw the announcement, like what our concerns were, like what we were discussing in game. So we were actually on the game when someone said, did you see the announcement? I'm like, oh, what announcement? So like I think we covered like most of that. Yeah.
Well, I go with one of mine here, and I'll go back to you, Hellish. I think that has been addressed earlier, so I don't want to be circular, but I probably missed it because I was doing different things. But just about the storage of data. Is there a difference between data that's been stored on your end or on the dev side? If something is flagged and there's a recording that's been done, obviously, my understanding is that ToxMod is going to send this video or audio file to the game maker. Are you, and whatever they do with the storage of that data, obviously that's on their end, and this is not something you have any control over. But are you also keeping that on your end as well, or is it automatically removed from your system as soon as it's sent to the customer?
That is the, as far as I know, that's just the max 30 days from our end. I feel like someone, but it was in a different announcement, and I don't think it was anyone official. But I think someone in another game was trying to say, oh, but don't you store it for them after the 30 days? I don't think that's true, But even if it did, the legality of it is it's their data. We can't touch it without them making a request as that processor controller thing. My understanding, though, is we don't even do that. I just want to acknowledge I saw that somewhere, and I can't remember if it was the Project Winter Discord.
So by paying for the ToxMod services, it means that they're now the owner of the data and of the recordings. Is that what I'm understanding here?
It was always their data, sort of carefully, because it's also your as the end user data. Like ownership gets weird, and so the ownership I'm using in terms of our customer, in this case Other Ocean, isn't the same as owning the data otherwise. They're the controller. It's their data to make requests, to process, to do all of that. Anything we do to it is then sort of basically returned to them. Like we cannot keep it.
Thank you for answering this question. Range, I think you're right. In short, the AI runs the background, listens to us, put a flag on a player, sends the audio to ToxMod servers, then it gets sent to the Other Ocean studio servers.
With the added step that it actually compiles a report. So it's going to bring in the associated voice clips. It's going to make a transcription. It's going to create a score so they can sort by it, the categorization. It's going to become this kind of packaged, here is your report, here is everything you need to understand it and make the decision. But basically, yes.
Okay. And don't forget, guys, this is, I've mentioned it at the start, I'm going to mention it again. It's a trial period we're going to have. We're going to try this on the game. And I mean, I'm not a dev. I'm not part of the game. Peezer is not as well. We're streaming the game very often, but we're not part of it. But I feel that this is just a trial period, which means that if things go bad, I don't know why they would, but if they do, this is not something that's going to stay. We have to try it before we pose any judgment. Peezer, any last questions you want to go with?
I did have one, and then I started typing something, and there it goes. So.
Oh yeah, no, I literally just went back through chat.
Yeah, I had a real one.
Yeah, no, and the questions have all actually been asked. So
yeah, I looked at chat as well.
Yeah, so and the thing is, Thomas for Good TV, he's a dev for Project Winter, right? So
yeah,
he's actually helping.
Red 5, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. But anyway, he is actually helping out answering the questions as well. So
yeah, from the side.
He's amazing. They're amazing. They're amazing.
Range, valid or invalid report stays archived. I mean, my understanding is that the fact that the report is valid or invalid is nothing to do with ToxMod. It has to do with the controller. So the language you're using is controller, not customer, right?
So they're our customer. In terms of the data, they are the controller. Yeah, like that's a I think it's a GDPR term. I don't know if it's a CCPA or a COPPA, but like they all have some sort of language to that idea, to that topic. I can't think of a word that I meant right now.
Well, controller actually seems valid because they're the ones that are controlling the AI at the moment, and they're the ones that are tweaking it to specifically work on their type of game. So controller is actually a really good one.
They actually have no ability to, and this is by design, they have no ability to directly mess with the AI just because if for instance, let's say the system was sold to a company in an oppressive regime or a company that decided to be oppressive themselves, we don't want them suddenly censoring political speech or things like that. That is not a thing they can tweak. They can tell us like, hey, here's a trend we see emerging in our communities. This is now something we'd love to consider toxic. And that's where it gets into kind of like okay, that makes sense. But if they're like, no, we're going to shut down any communication on topic X, probably not. You got to have a real good reason for that because that's not cool.
Okay, my bad. That was a bad way to say it. I meant like they're helping the AI learn what specifically that they're looking for, not actually tweaking the actual system. So like specifically looking for what they are.
Yeah, to some extent, their decisions are influencing what it learns. What it learns is important to them. Yeah.
Yeah, tweak was a bad word to say it. So.
It's okay.
Understandable. I do want to just say, like, I think this is gonna be great because like reporting people in game is always like, you know, it takes a minute, and like with the wait times sometimes when you're like trying to get into a lobby, like you probably don't always want to like wait around and like type out a whole paragraph. So I feel like a lot of like details that might be important get missed when you're typing out just like a quick report for someone being like terrible or just like generally like toxic, and that those details could be very important for like the devs to make a decision on things. So with this, like they probably have an easier time just like actually banning toxic players.
Also, if you think of it as a matter of impact, the faster they can react to the really bad people, which are luckily
Yeah.
very few, the less people they affect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thinking of like I'm still unfortunately a League of Legends player, but you get toxicity in there from one person, you've got 9 people, assuming they're not in like a pre-made or whatever, you've got 9 people who have to deal with it, or even
Yeah.
5 if it's just on their team.
God, that sounds like
And
Yeah.
That'd be
yeah,
a lot
and
of work
each
that
game that happens while they're waiting for that ticket to be reviewed from that first game, that could all be avoided.
Yeah, they say like a few bad apples spoil the bunch, right? So it's like,
Yeah, but the bad apples are the loud ones.
That whole bad apple's the whole
yeah,
game. Oh
like
my god.
Hey,
Um,
I'm loud.
I've been saying that in my opinion. Obviously, I don't want to speak for the game. I have a feeling that the dev might be, it's just my own opinion, that they might be swamped with reports, and I don't know, but I feel we might see a post on Discord about possibly them looking to find more people to help to review those, because I have a feeling we are downplaying the amount of toxicity that's happening in the game. I'm possibly the less likely to be victim of it. I'm I'm a male playing the game. I'm straight. I'm not the victim of most of it, and so I probably see about 10 to 15% of what's happening. And even though with only what I see from my privileged perspective, I sometimes found it appalling, to the point that 1 year ago I stopped playing the game until cool people like X and or Steve brought me back into it. So I cannot fathom what people that are not from my privileged position can deal with. I would not want to be at their place. I think it's very courageous of them to make the move. I think it's a required move. I think it's been a long time coming, but I'm not saying that as a complaint. I think it's good, and I commend them for doing that, and I think it's going to be just for the benefit of the game. IIQ Intellectual wants to know, I don't know if you're going to know that, how often does ToxMod gets updated or tweaked?
Good question that I don't know if I have a great answer to it. To some extent, constantly. In other ways, very frequently, but kind of in like batches. Okay. Is my understanding.
Is ToxMod, because we understood that the game, the software is being used on many different games and or online communities, and more you guys are in talks with more, and there's some things you were not able to tell us about it, or maybe some new announcement to be made soon. Is it all the same system that's all interconnected, and is it learning from all these locations together, or is it like different little systems? So is the ToxMod used on Project Winter will be learning from, let's say you guys were on Valorant and on any other games, would it learn from all the experience together to make a big ToxMod, or is it like little systems that just work on their own?
Yeah. Yes and no. So some of it will make it back into sort of like a, if you will, like a master model that it would go to each new customer, new game. But it's also, like I said before, very unique to each ecosystem. Something that's toxic in Rec Room, because it's all ages, might not be toxic in Valorant because it's a mature game. I think, I don't know what it's rated. Something, and even between those games in like a mature rating or an all ages rating, they might still have further nuance, and so a lot of that is per ecosystem.
So it's not like a big hive mind. It's more of like smaller, like maybe hive mind-ish kind of things.
It's like copies that learn independently, and then some of that learning might come back.
So does that,
I think, is a good way.
So basically, like I'm to go play one game. Actually, I guess this is another question. You get banned from one, you banned from them all?
No. Again, we don't know who you are.
Decision. Yeah.
We literally couldn't. I mean, unless like it's sort of like that whole NFT question, which I really don't want to get into, but like you'd have to get the buy-in from like every developer ever to make the cross-platform items, right? So if you think of it like that, we don't know who the player is. It's a unique user ID that we have that on their end maps back to a player, but that's not necessarily going to map the same in another game. Or another user might have that same name, or any number of other possibilities that no, no.
Yeah, so there's no linking to your personal info like IP addresses. It's quite literally just your name in game. That's it.
Yeah, from what we can see at Modulate, it would literally like what we have stored for that 30 days. It would be a UUID, the unique user identifier, and then like report data.
Cool.
So there's potentially two different ways. There's the way you deal with the data, which seems to be very clear, and the way the customer, I'm going to use this, or the controller deals with the data. That is something they will also have to come out, or maybe they did and I missed it, but they would have to also to come out with a details. Of course, I went to your website. Everything is very clear. Everything's very detailed. I think it's well done. And I'm going to put it in chat once again. If you guys didn't see it, here's the link to the ToxMod website if you want to learn more about it. Some of the recent question we have, I feel, will be more appropriate to send to a Project Winter dev and not to the ToxMod developer, because these are not like in your... These are not things you deal with. You do your job. Your system records, flags, records, and send to the customer. And whatever the customer does with the data is not something you are responsible for.
Right. Obviously, we're still going to care that they're compliant. We're still going to care they do a good job because our reputation matters too. Yeah. But it is on them. And I will say, to my knowledge, again, not a lawyer, I think as long as, again, players are aware that this is a thing they've agreed to in the TOS, I believe then, is assuming they were sufficient on their compliance before, I think they are then still sufficient. I don't know for sure on that. Ask a lawyer.
I'll call him up.
If you were to, just a question that came in my mind, if one of your customer or controller where to be found is a malicious bad actor, would ToxMod stop doing business or would stop the relationship with him? If
not my choice, but I would assume so.
Okay.
I know the people I help with recruiting, along with many other things I do at the company. Like we're all pretty united in, we are using this for good. It's very easily misused in the wrong hands if designed improperly, all of that. And so that's why, like you said, the website's really well put together. We have all those questions, why I exist. Yeah, I'm willing to state that honestly, if we didn't pull out of a company that was misusing our product, like I think you'd see a lot of us just personally leave.
Any one of you has any last questions before we go to the final words?
No, actually.
I think we're good.
I'm just going to do a little poll in chat here. I'm going to ask you guys if you're convinced now that we had this whole discussion that ToxMod inclusion is a good idea. I'm going to be very biased and I'm going to say yes, 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 1,000 times yes.
Don't waste all your channel points.
I genuinely see no like downside to it. Like,
no, honestly, it could literally change PW as a whole, and I'm excited to see that. Honestly,
I feel like the people who are really apprehensive about it are kind of telling on themselves a little bit. Like why are you so concerned about? Is it because you want to be toxic? Like,
maybe I'm coming in bad faith with that, but when I saw many, not all of them, but many comments about like people suddenly being very concerned about privacy, typing that on Discord through their phone on a Wi-Fi connection on the internet, I say, why are you selective about your privacy? It seems like a little bad faith to me, but at the same time, well, we're gonna be good faith and just think that people are not telling on themselves right now like that. But if they want to,
well, no,
want
that's
to
not gonna,
fight for it.
that's going to be a developer question. Actually, I mean, advised in the Discord there, on the Discord in the chat there. Maybe you'd know, but so that it only works based on what it picks up. Like, so like me sending in a report wouldn't really mean much to that system. It would be separate, totally separate.
I mean, hypothetically, I think some devs have used it to kind of like corroborate. So like you could search that same UUID or player ID or however they search or categorize their reports and be like, oh, ToxMod reported and like 4 people from this game reported the person. Let's bubble that up. Let's deal with that. Explicitly, not necessarily. Are there ways to do it? Probably, but yeah, it'd be on the dev side. I also do want to add, like, on the telling on themselves, I agree. I think a lot of people, not a lot, enough of the people who are really like harping on it are probably telling on themselves. But also, it is absolutely valid to have questions and be, it's spooky. There's something listening. I get that. That's
I think it's fair to have like concern about privacy because like like privacy is a big thing. But also like I feel like it's the age of 2023. The internet, like there's hardly any privacy anymore on the internet. So like I feel like you give a certain degree of like your privacy away when you're like just even like browsing on Google because like I can search for something one time and suddenly it's all I see in my ads. So it's like,
Well, yeah, as I said earlier, for those who missed it, I'm gonna just fuck up my phone right now. Toothpaste. My phone is off.
I'll be like Colgate.
Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna get some toothpaste ads on my phone. I'm telling you guys.
Colgate, Sensodyne.
It's fucked.
Yeah.
Rage, you said I'm behind
The
7
Sensodyne
VPN.
myself,
Good luck
thanks,
finding me.
Yeah. Got that cold sensitivity,
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. We're gonna go with the last statement. We're gonna go one by one. If you guys want to tell me what you thought about the discussion tonight, just be honest. If you think it's a good change, bad change, you're very much allowed to be honest and tell us who you are as well, where people can find you if you happen to be a content creator and you will want people to find you. I would want everyone to go and follow you if that's something you want. So Hellish seems to be busy, so I'm gonna go with Kitty first.
Yeah, I think this is great. I think it's gonna be a good addition because it'll put less. I feel like again, like what Morgan said, less on the players and like to call out toxic behavior and report. And it'll be more like the system that's doing it instead of putting it on the player base largely. I stream occasionally on Twitch, KittyKat 1099. Usually anywhere you'll find me is KittyKat 1099 unless that's taken. But yeah, I think this was very great. It answered a lot of questions and squashed a lot of concerns.
And for some reason, KittyKat streams mostly Blackout. So if that's something you're into, go and follow KittyKat. The link is right here.
Blackout's underrated.
It's pretty. That's it.
It is pretty, but base game is so much better.
Oh, bring me on a debate about Blackout.
We already had it last year. We had the Blackout debate last year.
Yeah,
Speaking of those, guys, if you want to see, we are on episode 20 of PodPipePal right now. And if you want to go on my YouTube page, you'll find all the debates. Last 2 weeks ago, last debate we had was all about J.K. Rowling and her very unfortunate comments or crusade against the trans community, and if it's a good idea or not to boycott Hogwarts Legacy game that's coming up next week.
Might be the first game I ever pirate. I don't know. We'll see.
So if you want to watch this debate, it's right now on my YouTube page. We had this debate 2 weeks ago, and it was a very, very good debate. Went up for 2 hours, and it got a little heated by the end. So if that's something you're into, just go see my YouTube page, and you will be able to find that. Morgan.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to help folks out answering questions however I can. I generally lurk in these discords, either until I run out of discords I'm allowed to join, because there is an upper limit. And yeah, that notification life is real as a community manager. But I will always be there. I just might be slightly less active over time. So, definitely at me if you have a question, throw it in there. Also, a lot of folks have gotten very knowledgeable over the honestly brief time I've been there answering questions so far. So they all probably have great information too.
Thank you immensely for being here tonight. Your input was invaluable, and I feel it helped clear a lot of misconceptions. I see right now in the chat, I made another poll, because remember, first poll, we had the majority of people not so sure about it. Right now, I changed the poll. It says, are you convinced ToxMod inclusion is a good idea? We have 16 votes for yes, 10 votes for not sure, and 0 vote for no. So right now, no one is 17 for yes right now. So see, I think we did a good job helping clear some misconception and spread the word about, in my view, all the good things that are going to come from it. Peezer.
I don't see a downside to it by any means. I mean, developers alone probably deal with, what Red just said, he has no less than 50 notifications at any given time. Like, I don't see any downsides to helping make the biggest problem in this game better, right? Like, I get some people don't want to be consistently recorded, but I'm in the small minority that is streaming every single game I'm playing of this game. So I'm sorry if you're near me, you're probably being recorded. I think it sounds great. I'll go to myself. I'm Peezer. I've been with this game for 3 years almost. I'm lucky enough to be part of their partner program. That's it. Thanks.
Thanks for being here, Peezer, as usual. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Hellish?
Hi guys, it's Hellish. I did join in a little late compared to everybody else, but I was reading up while I was at work because thank God it was a slow day. So I was doing my research, and I honestly see this going so far. And I'm just glad I was able to be a part of the conversation, and it was glad to meet you, Morgan, and learning and picking your brain a little bit. So y'all can see me at twitch.tv hellish8851, and I try and stream as much as I can. Recently it has been Overwatch, but maybe there might be a surprise stream tomorrow. Who knows?
Oh, who knows?
Ooh.
Do we know?
Okay.
We
No.
don't know? Is it going to involve your Brits?
No.
No. Hellish
I
and
need
the
a
Brits.
break from them. I need a break from them.
They're so
They
loud.
drive me insane sometimes.
I'm not sure how that group you have would fit with the ToxMod.
Exactly. It's not gonna work at all because all 4 of us are literally toxic to each other. So we would, sadly, we might break that mod or something would happen. But no, it will definitely be a surprise stream tomorrow. I'm not gonna tell y'all what because I actually don't even know what I'm streaming tomorrow yet. But it's definitely gonna be after I get back from the gym. So, but
congrats on starting to the gym, by the way. Also,
I feel so much better from it. So
Nice.
Only feel bad when you're going. That's it.
Hellish,
Yeah.
I missed
On the way. Excuse me.
I
What do you
mistyped your
think
link.
what do you think I said? 8851.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna fix it right now. Also, guys, another shout out I want to do. Gavin, that's been Gavin and Base. But Base is not streaming, so make sure you go follow Gavin as well. Gavin has been amazing as a mod tonight, keeping your chat clean, getting some engagement, and answering your own question, guys. Gavin also streams Project Winter on Tuesdays, on the evening every Tuesdays, and she's amazing. Do yourself a favor, go and follow her. And I'm gonna put Hellish's link here. That has been wrong the entire show, and I'm sorry, Hellish.
You're good. Like I
I'm still
put
able
in
to
the
find
chat,
her.
Asparagus. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I searched you. I was still able to find you.
Oh yeah, and it's kind of of hard not to miss me. So,
So guys, if you're here for the first time, my name is Asparagus Daiquiri. I'm a French Canadian streamer. I play mostly social deduction games, or I host talk shows more and more. I have 3 talk shows going on. Pod Pipal Debates, which is this show when we bring some contentious topic and we all talk about it. Sometimes it's a little bit more combative. Sometimes it's a bit more of a friendly conversation. Hellish, did you just throw your ball at your face?
yeah, I just hit
Yes.
my tongue and bit my tongue.
We did not see that. There's also another show I have with my
goodness.
2 nerd friend, Agathon and Moose. We've been on a little hiatus, but we're gonna come back soon. Republic Rants, when we talk everything Star Wars related, and Anime Protege, which is my new anime show where the principle is that I know jack shit. I don't know anything about anime at all, and my 2 co-hosts, Jade and Elle try to teach me about this culture. Next month we're gonna review Star Wars Vision on the 20th of this month, so that's the anime for this month, and we're gonna talk all about this. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for being here tonight, guys.